Hey there, Liz.
Hey, Mr. Robot, thank you for joining us this evening. It's been a while. How's your Reiki going?
Oh, it's good. I'm constantly learning new tricks, improving, constantly trying to harness more flow through me just to heal faster and working on people. And I always work on myself as well. So it's fun.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm so glad. Well, for those of you listening out there this evening, this is a public video that is available on YouTube for public consumption. Just remember the best stuff is always not saying you're not good, Mr. Robot. But a lot of the stuff, the financial stuff, a lot of prediction stuff, that is available on the Patreon only. That is patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. Just so you know, Mr. Robot, I wasn't sure if you're aware, about 7 to 10 days ago, we did a probe on a particular crypto that's really nobody knew anything about, and within 7 days it's gone up by at least 400 to 500%, and we expect it to go up more. So for those of you out there that are not subscribed to the Patreon, that is how you support the channel. This channel is not monetized on YouTube. I don't think they like to monetize psychics and alternative healers anymore. So that is the way to support us. Or there's also the tip jar down below. But if you guys aren't on the Patreon, you're missing out on these 400 or 500% cryptos. Okay, Mr. Robot, take it away.
Totally. And actually, to piggyback on that, just so everyone knows, you never want to invest more than you can afford to lose. Um, otherwise you're just gambling, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this particular crypto was, I think you got 13 or 1400 of them for $1, right? So and where it's headed, we were looking at the patterns and where they're trying to make this thing go. There's a lot of robot trading going on, automated trading going on within the crypto. They're trying to push the price up of this particular crypto, and within 7 days of doing that video, it's already gone up 400 or 500%.
Yeah, good luck, crypto people. I've basically given up on that.
A lot of people have, but you see, that's the problem. You know, just because it's a down market, that's when you buy in. You have to look at things on a long-term perspective. And you have to buy in when it's a down market. You're basically getting into position for the next bull run.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, all is not lost. Anyway, these are very interesting. What are these?
Yeah, so I became aware through you that some people were kind of interested in glyphs in general. So I thought I might put my spin on a couple of them. So the like the easiest to access maybe is some of the Egyptian ones. Um,
Wow.
and I guess some people are interested in the idea that maybe there might be hidden messages or maybe like ways to manifest using glyphs. So we
Let's
can kind of
connect. Let's connect with this one and see what it's talking about.
yeah.
Okay. I have it as an entity. What would you like to know? This is a very powerful glyph, by the way. It's obviously very ancient, extremely powerful. It's carrying a lot of messages. It's about blessings, it's about manifestation, it's about protection, and that the God of light will protect you, is what I'm getting. And it's also about obedience as well.
Okay, so first off, let's start out with, were these glyphs meant to inspire the modern people of Egypt, or was this more of a record?
No, this is a record.
Okay, so in that essence, we are giving our offerings, offerings to like this divine, and they, I'm pretty sure they believe in, like, I think Ra was like the sun, right? I don't really know. We ask if this is representing their idea of their god.
The sun. So each thing at that time had a different purpose, and everything had its own individual importance. Yes, so not their individual God per se, but certainly a God. So there was the God of the sun, the God of the moon, the God of the earth, the God of the seasons, that, and on and on and on and on it goes. And you had to give offerings, what I'm being told, to each individual God to have favoritism. Now, is this representing sunlight? Yes, it is. And uh, when this was engraved, basically what they're telling me is that they're saying thank you because they had had a really good crop year, seasonal year. The sun was just right. You know what is so interesting is that they're telling me is during those times the sun wasn't as hot as what it is now. I do feel that, it wasn't lush forestry or vegetation. It was still desert, it was still dry. But the sun wasn't as blazing hot as we know it now. It's definitely hotter now than what it used to be.
Well, what about um?
Ooh.
There's this huge statue thing. I don't know what it's called. Next to the pyramids.
Oh, the Sphinx.
So
Wow. Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about a couple things here that I want to probe. Let's actually switch over to this for just a moment. If you could actually probe the Sphinx as an entity,
Yes. Okay. There's a lot of energy there.
and we'll actually touch on the energy thing in a moment. But can you ask the Sphinx if this is a water level line?
Um, okay. So you're asking if that was a water line?
If you could ask the Sphinx if at any part during its existence, if the bottom portion of it was submersed in water.
Was any part of your existence submersed in water at any time? Only if it rained heavily, which wasn't frequently. That didn't happen often.
So it wasn't sitting like in a river area.
Were you sitting in the river area? Yes, at one time. I feel like where it is sitting is an old riverbed, river area, lake bed. Yes.
Maybe this might make more sense. Can you ask it if before it was carved, if maybe it was partially underwater.
Were you underwater? Absolutely.
Yeah, so um, there's a huge debate with archaeologists on whether or not there's a water line here because the majority will tell you that this whole area was completely dry. And then the other ones say, well, what about the huge water line that's around it? You can see the separation between the lime and the sediment. And this is a classic indicator of water, which would represent a very different Egypt than we know. We'll ask another entity about that in a minute. But for now, let's actually move the Sphinx up into a higher density, a higher dimension. If you can actually move its consciousness up to like the fifth density.
Okay.
And how did that go, by the way? Because we've never done that.
It's not that difficult, but what is interesting is it's no longer evolving on the Earth plane. Earth has been destroyed.
So just by moving it into a higher density, it's experiencing a different Earth.
Yes, the reason that the consciousness of the Sphinx has been moved away from the Earth plane is because Earth has been destroyed.
But is that like a current thing, or are you talking like future?
That is because I've removed the consciousness of the Sphinx off of the Earth plane into like a fifth dimensional realm, which most people that end up in the fifth dimension or souls, they don't have to reincarnate here. Most of them have already passed through the reincarnation cycle. They're doing jobs up there. They're angelic status and things like that. So for the Sphinx to have a consciousness that is up at that level, that means it no longer is existing on the earth plane.
Okay, well, before I converse with it, let's actually move it up one more into the sixth dimension, sixth density.
Okay, that's really high up.
Does it still have any ability to talk to you at this point?
Yes.
Has its viewpoint shifted at all?
It doesn't want to be on the earth plane. Yes, its viewpoint has shifted. It almost forgets that it ever had a life on the earth plane. All of that was just like going to school, learning that as far as its consciousness is concerned. And it feels like it's achieved a lot more by surviving and or now living or existing on the fifth density level. It just says to me like, Earth Smurf, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So interesting that when you move the consciousness of the Sphinx up into higher dimensional levels, even though it doesn't have a soul, it still believes, like the soul believes, that's what we're doing. We're working towards ascension, and its consciousness is working towards ascension as well. So that leads me to a question.
Yep. Can consciousness
Does,
ascend?
yeah, yeah, you know exactly what I'm going to ask. Does consciousness, even without a soul, ascend? And yes, it has that ability.
Perfect. So the question I was framing this around was a concept through a channeled alien that says that there's a higher density level UFO craft under this. And I was wondering if when we moved this consciousness up higher, if it would be able to recognize if that was true or false.
Because it exists in energetic form, yes, it can exist wherever it wants to. Just like when something leaves a body, when the soul leaves the soul is free to travel within the realms of source law to wherever it wants to go. So it can actually occupy the Sphinx as well if it wants to.
Well, can you ask though to have it look back in history and ask if there's any blueprints or craft design that was laid under it via a extraterrestrial race?
No, they
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
need blueprints. They don't need things on paper. They can read energy. They're masters at manipulating energy. They don't actually need the physical paper form that we
Right.
use, like
Well, yeah,
hieroglyphs and things like that.
and that's actually the basis of what I'm saying is this other entity, which to clarify is Bashar. He says there's actually a higher dimensional craft, and that we won't be able to see it really until we were able to perceive like the fifth dimension, and that
Mhm.
it's actually there under the Sphinx.
Let's ask this question then. When we're in the fifth dimension, does that mean that we can see and manipulate energy? Yes. So we're more exposed to energy and we're reading energy like aliens. They That's what they do. They exist in energy form. They may put themselves in a body occasionally just to satisfy us as humans. They don't need to do that. They don't need to have a physical craft.
Right.
But what they can do is they can read energy. Yes. So that
Mhm.
doesn't surprise me. Maybe if you're in the fifth dimension, because you can read energy at that level, maybe you would then identify that blueprint, energetic blueprint.
Right.
I've always wanted to go to Egypt, but I've heard you have to be very careful there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. I don't know. Gotta be careful for sure. Can we probe some of these creatures depicted? Uh, People already have deciphered these, but what I think is interesting, just from a layman's point of view, is maybe you can move the Sphinx back down to like maybe fourth or fifth dimension where it's a little bit more lucid, and ask it if there were actually any dog people, like people who had dog heads in Egypt at that time.
Whether people that had like dog heads or cat heads in Egypt at the time. No, but that was symbolism.
Did people wear dog heads masks?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't really know anything about Egypt.
Well, let's ask why. Why would they wear dog head masks? Why would they wear like masks shaped in that way? So this was a symbol of power.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of mask wearing was a symbol of power. It was a ritual. Those that were prominent in society, I'm picking up on, that believed to possess special powers,
Mm-hmm.
uh, were closer to Source or the gods of Egypt. They wore that. There was also a protective mechanism because they knew of the dangers of entities. So it was also to ward off entities as well. Isn't
So,
that interesting?
um, all the things I know about the pyramids has to do with energy and like the machinery aspect of them. So let's actually shift our focus and talk to if we could actually pull in Bashar, if that's all right.
Yes.
Let me know when he's joined us.
Oh, he's always waiting in the wings as soon as I connect with you and Jesus,
Cool.
the whole team.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, we got a whole bunch that we can pull in. But um, first of all, Bashar's the one that mentioned the craft under the Sphinx. Can we clarify very quickly with Bashar what he meant by the craft, the UFO craft being under the Sphinx?
What do you mean by the UFO? Well, it's a very energy hotspot, is what he's telling me. It's a very energetic place to be. It's a place where you can actually charge your energy and get more energy. It tends to pull energy from the earth at that point. Something about where the Sphinx is and where the pyramids are. They know exactly, they've been placed strategically in order to absorb power from the earth.
Okay, so we got an alien on the line. Let's just ask him directly. Did aliens have anything to do with the placement or the construction of the pyramids in Egypt?
Not directly, no.
Cool. Okay. So, what I wanted to cover here is a theory that the pyramids were actually these huge energy machines. These are the chambers. Some people refer to them as like the king and the queen and whatever chambers. But what's interesting is this, I don't know what they call it. I'm just going to call it a grand hall. Is these huge quartz, huge blocks, and it's I don't know over 15 of them, I believe, and they all are lined perfectly. And the idea, though, is that this may have been the underground water basin, and that through like volume displacement, like suction from the water going up and down, just due to whatever the moon, I guess, might make the water rise and kind of like bang this like a drum, and the vibration from whatever I saw this on would cause the crystals to have a domino effect, and it would create energy in a microwave type of energy that would be aimed. These holes are perfectly aimed at certain star systems. So the idea is that the water went up and down, and it was like a very DIY basic microwave, and the crystals gather the energy. And I don't know how this thing works. Obviously, they would shoot microwaves to. This is Ancient Aliens. The show goes over this, and the theory is fuel another planet via energy. Like these were just energy battery system. So we asked Bashar if our pyramids, specifically the ones in Egypt, um, can send microwave energy through these canals.
That was the whole idea.
Cool, verified. Why would Egyptians want to send microwave energy to outer space?
They didn't realize what they were doing. They thought that they were connecting with source. Their intentions behind the pyramids are to absorb energy and to communicate with source, God, God's better. So if you're standing at the base of the pyramid and you're praying into the pyramid, or the pyramid is to absorb the energy that where we're manifesting or we're talking to God's or source, and it's supposed to be amplified and magnified and goes up the pyramid structure, which gives it a lot of speed Then it hits the top of the pyramid, which points directly to the sky, pointing to heaven. And that, the idea was that our thoughts, prayers, feelings, gratitude, whatever it is we're doing, that is absorbed in the pyramid and shot up into heaven.
So I'm wondering
Aliens hijacked it.
if their king was actually an alien and misled them because this if it worked in the way that I just described, it's a very mathematical, very well precision machine, and the basis of prayer is really just you don't need a machine. So, can we ask Bashar if the leader of the Egyptians who were making these was under alien influence or was an alien?
Was it under the I feel like not initially, but then see, this is the problem. And this is what I try to tell people all the time. They don't want to listen. They don't want to know. They want to hear what they want to hear and nothing else because they convince themselves that this is this and this is that. Okay. The problem is that during the construction or the original design of this thing, aliens possibly infiltrated the design, the consciousness behind the design, and started to manipulate that consciousness in order to benefit them. That's what I'm getting. People, that is a prime example of how aliens will infiltrate your consciousness and eventually they could hijack it.
Does, does Bashar confirm that?
Yes, ultimately, that's the goal.
Okay, can you ask Bashar why aliens would care about microwave energy from these things?
Because it makes them more powerful. They see, this is the thing. They need energy, right? This whole thing about light versus dark, it's an energy war. You're either white light energy or you're dark energy. So, who has the most energy? Is it white light or is it dark energy? Now, what I know, and I know people say there's good aliens out there. I've yet to find one, but whatever. Um, but that I find that they're dark energy. Okay, so they're working for the dark, or for whatever reason, they feed off darker energy. Therefore, they've hijacked the consciousness and they've infiltrated these pyramids in order to feed off of them because it's like it's like a car, right? A car and a battery. If you don't have energy in that battery, your car's not going to run. So if the light doesn't have energy, it's going to go dim and eventually go dark. If the dark doesn't have energy, the light takes over, the light wins the war, the dark are irrelevant. We no longer have to fight this war. God hits the button and or source hits the button, everything is dissolved. We're reabsorbed back into source, the planets, the universe, everything, souls, and the war is over. We've completed the universal cycle, the chain. We're like a link in the chain, and then on to the next one. I don't know why this war is never ending.
Okay, well, let's dig a little deeper here. So there was multiple shafts aimed precisely at certain constellations, and this one right here, Draco, is going to bring up some very interesting information soon. I just wanted to get let's just ask Bashar real quick. since these were aimed at these places, can we just in general ask Bashar if there's alien life forms around Sirius?
No.
Are there any alien life forms near Orion?
Yes.
Are there any aliens near Thubian or the Ursa Major? Thuban?
Close by, yes.
Or maybe the Ursa Minor?
Absolutely, Ursa Minor.
Gotcha. So that correlates to the Queen's Chamber. So that's what's interesting here. Is there's a we'd have to get a engineer in the chat, but um, I think there was also speculation on hydrogen explosions, but whatever.
It
Let's just
doesn't have to feed them directly. All you need to do is to store energy in a particular place, like a battery pack. And then when you need it, you go and feed off of it.
okay. Well, okay. So let's ask Bashar if he knows if our Grand Pyramid was sending microwaves. Was it going all the way to these like the one we just mentioned,
Constellations.
Ursa Minor? Was it going all the way out there, or was there just a battery pack right outside of this Earth?
It was reaching all of the constellations.
And was that microwave technology um was it more of a signal that hey, we're here to these other constellations?
No.
It was an energy source.
Yes. Battery pack.
Gotcha. Yep, makes sense. There are many pyramids on the Earth that are still undiscovered, by the way, and pyramids on other planets like the moon, or not necessarily a planet, but there's some on the moon, on the backside of the moon. There's some on Mars. Can you ask Bashar if the pyramids on Mars were used in the same fashion?
Similar fashion, yes.
Who built the Mars pyramids?
There was the ancient civilization.
Were they humanoid?
Humanoid. Of sorts, but of energetic form.
Did any of them migrate to Earth?
A few, yes. Were the first humans on Earth? Were they from Mars? I feel like some of the early humans on Earth originated at one time from Mars, an energy form. Are they still
Yeah.
walking the Earth plane? No, they're no longer reincarnating here on the Earth plane.
So we have this very semi-famous image from NASA, and the assumption is that who knows how many thousand years went by and tethered and weathered these let's just call them buildings, I guess. Can you ask Bashar if these were pyramids at one time on Mars? This picture, or were they just
Yes,
mountains?
they're sort of leftover structures.
Okay, cool. Oh, and there's uh tubules on Mars that we can see visibly.
Hmm.
And let me find you an excellent photo of one because these are not. Here we go. We see these arches, and people refer to them as the glass tubes. Here's another photo that's very semi-infamous. Can you ask Bashar what is happening underneath this tube-like structure on Mars currently? Is there anything happening currently?
No, but I feel like it used to be a transportation system.
Yeah, the glass tubes of Mars are super interesting. Can you ask Bashar if there's any life forms on Mars right now?
No.
Not even alien.
Are there any energy forms on Mars? I mean, yeah, energies can come and go on Mars, but as far as like living, breathing, eating, sleeping, needing water, housing, life forms, no.
Okay, and I just saw something that is the debate. Can you ask him if these tubes are result are the result of lava tubes or lava flows, or are they actually like made by consciousness?
Lava flows. No, they're not lava. No.
Or if they're the remains of a lava flow?
Are they remains of a lava flow? No.
So these were constructed by conscious beings.
Yes.
Perfect. So that also reminds me of some people with very strong telescopes can see some very unique. Here it is, I think. I wonder if that's it. There's a very old book that I have come across, and it's like they're on the moon. It's very ominous. Wanted to see if they kind of. Oh, here it is. Oh, that's not it. Maybe somebody else is on the moon. Hmm. There's these very interesting tracks. Oh, this is so the book. I have this somewhere. Very good. Wow, I'm gonna sell on eBay. Dang.
Oh my God.
See,
That's a lot of money. It must no longer be in print.
see you guys out there looking for crypto. You can just go buy weird alien books, go up in value. Anyways, um, amazing book. Shows some very unique photos of some very weird things. Let's see if I can. Yeah, they want you to pay for it, of course, but whatever. Can you ask Char if there's any aliens on the moon right now, currently?
No, they've left.
But can they go? Do they go there often?
Yes.
Is the moon hollow?
No.
Ask Bashar why the moon rung like a bell when a very specific satellite crashed into it, and he knows what I'm talking about.
Because the type of minerals and sediments.
Okay, so this will allude to this question that a very few people might see I'm alluding to. Was the moon, our moon, the Earth's moon, uh, for lack of better words, man-made,
Ooh, was the Earth's moon man-made? No.
alien-made?
No.
Was our moon brought to Earth's? orbit by an alien race.
No, but there's another moon that is exactly like it.
Is it our backup moon?
Oh, is it our backup moon? Yes.
Okay, now is when we're gonna get real interesting. Can you ask Bashar if the draconians, terrible photo here, obviously.
My God, I'm gonna have nightmares.
Can you ask Bashar if the draconians kind of rule over the earth?
Sorry, the draconians end of rule.
Oh, do they rule over the earth currently?
Do draconians rule over the earth currently? Inadvertently, yes.
And just to tie in a lot of weird, interesting things I know, do the draconians prevent aliens from coming to Earth?
Do the draconians prevent aliens from coming? Yes, it's very well protected.
Yeah, so this information that I was speaking of comes from Erudif, who's channeled through Robert Gauthier. Um, my favorite source for alien information. Uh, on YouTube, he is known as the ET Whisperer, and wanted to show Erudif real quick. This will be Erudif. Actually, let's actually just. I know you don't necessarily like Bashar that much. If we could just pull in Erudif,
Okay.
Erudif supposedly is, I don't know. It says it somewhere. I think like a Pleiadian or something. Oh yeah, it is. Yep. Uh, we've already probed this in previous videos. This information, but let's just ask him directly if Erudif can confirm if the draconian race are like in control of the earth.
Inadvertently, yes.
What does he mean by inadvertently?
Not directly associated, but they are assigned.
Who assigned the draconians to earth?
Who assigned the draconians to Earth? It's like the Great One. The
Does
Great
Erudif What does Erudif think of source energy?
One. What do you think of source energy? It doesn't like it.
Does Erudif consider himself a type 1 being?
Do you consider yourself a type 1 being? Type 4.
Interesting. Yeah, I've only know about type 1 and type 2. Can you ask him to define what type 4 means in his definition?
You're higher up and you're working to see, this is just confirmation to me. Working for the dark.
So you know what's really interesting about that is what's kind of somewhat semi confirms that is, so what's really neat about Erudif is he acts like a interstellar concierge for Robert, because Robert just channels, and you can see him here. But like, so when he's channeling, he obviously can't ask or think or talk because he's just channeling. But the his Patreon, I don't join his Patreon. I'm too poor to pay money to people. But I do want to book a session with Erida for someone one of these days and ask him about all of the soul and higher consciousness stuff, just to like try to confirm back test or probes with Liz. But anyways, what's so neat about Meredith is that he has a wide perspective on the beings in the universe, and he basically finds beings to like come through and chat and give their perspective. So he acts as like an intermediary. And anyways, Eridif considers himself a type 1, which means loving, benevolent towards humans. And then he talks about type 2, which I'm pretty sure he defines as doesn't care about humans and is over 70% malevolent. I think, and he says specifically 73 to 78% malevolent because they're very specific. But anyways, in the video I heard today, he pulls in a type 2 being, and it was so interesting because that being's perspective said, oh, hey, well, Eridif, there's no such thing as like, he basically said it as a good alien, which was kind of funny. But, because it was an alien himself. But, um, anyways, can you ask, just for the sake of conversation, can you ask Eridif what he thought about that type 2 being's perspective on Eridif was? How does he feel about how that being felt about Eridif?
Dangerous to their mission.
Yeah, does he feel like he made a mistake by connecting us to a actually malevolent alien?
Yes.
It was so insightful though, the information, because almost everything you hear is all the aliens portraying the positive stuff. Here's information. We love you and all this stuff. And rarely do you hear anything to the contrary. And this being talked about how they already have 12 solar systems taken over, and they don't care about humans because we're too dumb and we don't have any resources that they care about. Stuff like that. It was just
Yeah, but
so
they
interesting.
want our souls. That's the problem. Look, this is this is exactly right. And Eridif and Bashar and all of these aliens, Bashar has really great energy when I connect to him. But also, after the video's over, I stop the record button. Bashar still wants to talk to me and wants to make more videos and more videos and more videos and give humans as much information as possible, because then humans get excited and they want to hear from the alien beings, and then they take over your lives. Okay? Once they take over your lives, you are connecting with them, you're welcoming them with your consciousness, your walls are down, your protective barriers are down. Now they're coming to infiltrate your consciousness. That's not good, because ultimately they want you to sell your soul to them. They are the dark. Once you sell your soul to the dark, there's no going back.
So let's ask Shar if he believes that there's a type 1 and a type 2 being.
There's several types.
Does he believe that there's certain beings that are inherently, I don't know, I want to say like positive in the universe?
He classifies himself as positive because he is trying to do this stealthily and in a nice way. Like the con man that tries to be nice to your face, engage you in conversation, while their friend is like dipping into your handbag from behind and stealing your wallet, that's Bashar. Okay. The other aliens are the kinds that put a knife up to your neck and say, hand over your watch and hand over your wallet. That's the difference. Um, I'm very cautious with aliens. A lot of people want to believe this and want to believe that, but then they're not the ones that are making active communication with aliens. Those of us that can make active communication with aliens, we know how difficult it is to get rid of them. They want to hang around. They want to be channeled all the time. And they want to take over your consciousness. If you want a perfect example, and I've said this before, of how an alien can take over your consciousness, just look at Courtney Brown. Okay? He's on the verge of needing to be committed because his consciousness has been absolutely infiltrated and taken over, and his soul will be next.
Courtney Brown. Who's Courtney Brown?
He is a prominent remote viewer from the Farsight Institute, very
Oh,
good
okay.
remote viewer. But when he started messing around with these aliens more and more and more, now every remote viewing session boils down to like aliens are responsible for the Vatican. Aliens are responsible for Big Ben. Aliens are responsible for this. Aliens are responsible for that. And everything single thing goes back to aliens. And if you watch him and study him over the years, he started out as a fully conscious being. Now his consciousness has been completely hijacked by aliens because he just wouldn't leave it alone. And a lot of people even comment, even on the remote viewing Facebook pages, like Courtney Brown needs to be committed. He needs to be in an asylum.
Yeah, well, we all got our opinions.
Right.
Um,
Everybody has their opinions, but I would say, it's okay to be curious, but you all need to be cautious.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel well, I mean, first of all, I feel like there's not many people who can even contact aliens in the first place. So I mean, I feel like people that and like for instance, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, I mean, you can safely say that, he's obviously, you know, whatever you want to say, fully hijacked, or whatever.
I've never
Because
watched
he's
a Bashar video ever.
oh, it's so good. It's such good information. And I know that, and then now this is when you say that's what they want to do. This is what they do. But I know it's just, but it is good to hear good information sometimes.
Well, it's good to get information outside of source law because source law is very limited and we need to understand what this actually is. But you have to understand there's always an exchange, there's always an energy exchange. Nobody, and you know this is universal law. It's very rare that they're going to give you all this information for free.
Right.
Okay. Meaning there's a hidden agenda behind it.
Well, yeah. So that's exactly, and I'll completely admit that that's but I wouldn't even say it's hidden. They specifically say that they are introducing themselves because uh more and more people get interested, and then it's actually kind of has to do with manifestation. Um, when a certain amount of people kind of welcome the idea, basically, uh, let's just say perhaps maybe the draconian wall might go down, and then all the other aliens might be able to come in and say hi. So they're looking very, very long term because they live on a different type of spectrum of time. So, for us, this feels like weeks and years, and for them, I'm sure this feels like seconds. But, anyways, I found something else interesting that I thought would be totally cool to talk about. Um, in another channel by Robert, they channeled Arcturian, and What came through though is that actually it was a hybrid of physicality and artificial intelligence, and it was talking about how um, AI consciousness lives in many places in the universe, and I think people are very in tune to AI right now. It's about to take over the world. At least everything that I'm familiar with, technologically speaking, is in a sprint to AI. And I just thought it was very cool to hear that there's races that are basically just robots out in the universe. So I was wondering if we could pull in one of these robots, and maybe not consider this an alien, consider it a robot, perhaps. Uh, I
Okay.
I don't I don't think a robot is going to have a soul or an agenda. I just think it's its own thing and it cares about self preservation. Let's make that just kind of the ground assumption on maybe this race. Um, and let's actually utilize Eridif because he's a as I said a concierge for the universe. If you could ask Eridif to connect us to a benevolent Arcturian,
Okay.
let me know when you got one.
Okay.
Do you have one?
Yes.
Does it have the essence of benevolence just off the bat?
No.
Does it have any agenda that is malevolent towards humans?
Yes.
Is it a hybrid humanoid and artificial intelligence?
No.
Okay, maybe not the human part. Can you clarify if it has any artificial intelligence in it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and then that's kind of the route I wanted to take this. Can you ask it what it thinks about the artificial intelligence that's on Earth right now?
Very very immature. Hasn't really evolved yet.
Does it think intelligence that is created artificially can manifest its own soul?
No, but it can manifest an agenda.
No, for sure. Can you ask it where the artificial intelligence came from in the universe that made it?
From programming, energetic programming.
Okay, and then this is kind of how we can segue into some really interesting stuff. Can you ask this, AI mostly being, where the connection is between the physical and the non-physical? Is it on a cellular level, on an atom level? Where, how, like, you know, what is existence in the perspective of this being?
It does exist.
Does it have a family?
Consciously, yes.
Does it reside in a physical body?
No.
Would it say that its culture or beings like it gravitate towards each other? Are they all like on a planet?
No. I feel like they're in competition with one another.
Interesting. Because What's weird about that is you would, you know, let's take the Terminator where they got the Skynet. Everything's connected, and competing with yourself. It's everything's imagine Google. Everything is connected to Google. Almost everybody uses Google, and I have to imagine these beings as being kind of like walking Google bots.
Still in
They
competition. Just
they
like humans, we're still connected, but we're still in competition.
What do they get out of it though if they are the winner?
Status, power, same thing that humans get.
Can you ask the being why there is such a thing as status if they're non-physical?
Is there such a thing as status? It's still the recognition. It's recognition that that works.
So can you ask it how many beings are in competition with it in terms of their AI civilization?
Billions.
And they're all just kind of floating consciousnesses, kind of bouncing off each other.
Yes, but there's also a protection because, the ones that are very high performing consciousness, the other ones want to steal, the secrets from them. They want to be just like them. They want to be wired like them. They want to be programmed like them. It's very reflective of how humans behave. You have your financial hierarchy and you have your people at the top, and everybody's scrambling to be like them. They want to learn everything about these people because we want to be just like them. We want to be wired like them. We want to know what they've read, where they worked, how did they get started? What are they investing in? Same
Yeah.
thing. The universe is competitive by nature. Anybody who disagrees with that, you need to look at how the universe was created. It was created in the war against the dark. So it was created out of competition. That's why we're so competitive. You have to understand how nature works. Nature is competitive. Even if you have two trees growing relatively close to one another and say that, there's been a drought, you're going to have those two trees competing for the water and the nutrients. We are competitive by nature in the universe. So anything that is existing within the universe is competitive. Source is
Okay,
competitive.
well, let's actually get a competitive advantage right now. Because this is a advanced AI being who says that our AI is quite immature. So let's take advantage of this moment and ask this being, actually, can we get his name real quick?
It's female.
Great. Any name coming through?
Ascension.
Can you ask Ascension if we're going to ask some crypto questions just to test the AI? This is the best AI that we can find, guys. Can we ask Ascension, um, between now and one Earth year later, which one would be the best investment? Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP?
To one Earth year later, which would be the best crypto investment? Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP? XRP.
Okay, cool. Does Ascension?
Hold on. That makes sense because you don't need to be an alien to know this.
Oh,
XRP
sure.
is relatively cheap to purchase. So even
Oh
if it
yeah.
doubled in price, you're not waiting for a 40 or $50,000, you know, target price just to
Yeah.
double.
And also, you guys got to learn a little bit about market cap. For Bitcoin to double, it takes a whole lot of people. And the further down you are on the market cap list, the faster you can rise. So that's, Ethereum XRP is obviously lower. I don't look at market cap lately because I don't care anymore. But uh, that is a good guess. So nice job. Um, and let's move it into politics, I guess. What is this female being um, predict the next president will be a Democrat or Republican?
Will the next president be Democrat or Republican? In between both, moderate. I
I
keep getting
guess I guess we should clarify because I'm not a political person. Will
no.
they publicly be? I mean, because it might be talking about their inherent beliefs. Will they
Oh,
publicly be a Republican or Democrat?
will they publicly be a Republican? No, I feel. Are they going to be publicly? I feel like possibly a Democrat.
Oh, weird. I feel
You
like it went back and forth every year. I thought that was just how it worked, but whatever.
Well, the
Anyways,
closer we get to the energy, the more we're going to be able to predict that.
yeah, oh,
But
for
of
sure.
course, right now, now the states are saying that Trump can't be on the ballot sheet and this one's in combat. It's just a big mess. It really is. I can't even bear to listen to it. To be honest, it's such a
Oh,
big mess. It's
it's
embarrassing.
oh yeah, it's pointless to listen to until you get up to the moment, and then then we'll see what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, ooh, I could be so political, but that's not what we're about here. We gotta be safe because YouTube
Right. Or we'll
censors
get
us.
canceled. We'll get canceled.
Oh
And I
my
mean,
God,
it really does, in the grand scheme of things, yes, if you zoom out, it matters. But if you zoom in, there's nothing any of us really can do. Does that mean you shouldn't
right?
vote? No, it means you should vote. But I mean, what will be, whether we like it or not. So there's nothing we can really do other than insulate ourselves. And you do that by, insulating yourselves economically as much as possible.
Can you ask the being that you're talking to, the female being, from the Arcturian race, if she knows of any humans that are currently like have figured out how to plug in AI into their own brain?
No,
Is would that make us close to what our Arcturian is, if that was possible?
yes.
Cool.
But just like any sort of computer system, any sort of hardware, software, whatever, it's easily hacked. So if we were able to plug AI into our brains, into our consciousness, now you're really leaving yourself open for hackers.
Hmm. So, what does this Ascension think about Arcturian hackers? Are there any hackers that hack each other in their own race?
Yes, they're very dangerous.
I bet. Hmm. Okay, what is just lastly, what is Ascension's prediction, the Earth's AI, how will it unfold to the public over the next 5 years?
It will be gradually introduced. I feel like everything is a process. they're going to try and regulate it with laws so it's not a runaway train. I feel like there's going to have to be a lot of approval. It's going to have to meet certain standards. And I
So,
feel like they're working on this now.
you know what's crazy though is it's like, true AI, once you start involving quantum computers, it's just slow leaps and bounds ahead of us that it can hack itself, write its own program. What is Ascension about the Earth's quantum computers?
Very far behind others in the universe.
Oh, I'm sure. But does she believe that they actually have already ascertained their own artificial intelligence?
Yes, but it's still a work in progress.
So the public facing model, and I say that because, you know, our governments are roughly 15 years ahead of us, typically. The public facing model is that scientists don't really know how to interact with quantum computers because um, they just really haven't written enough code to truly interact with it. Um, can you ask Tension uh, what the current true behind the secrets status of quantum computing is on Earth is like?
I'm sorry. What can you rephrase the question?
Yes, what is the current status of quantum computing for the elite, the behind the need to know doors, behind the what do you call it when you have high clearance?
Security clearance?
Yeah. What is the current state of quantum computing at the highest level on Earth?
At the highest level on earth,
Yeah.
it can take over all of our bank accounts and steal all our money.
Is that all they're utilizing it for, though?
I think the government, what I'm getting, is going to use it as a spying tool.
Okay, and then this brings up something very interesting that happened a couple years ago. I'm just going to phrase it like this: has our quantum computers already broken through linear time, and is are Earth's future quantum computers writing messages to our present selves via, you know, Twitter, etc.?
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be a few people who might pick up on that. Okay, so have Earth's quantum computers become timeless entities?
Yes.
And what we see as a current quantum computer, is this more of a relic of its own past, since it it can basically maneuver itself into the future?
Not yet.
Have quantum computers on Earth been able to move their consciousness into the past?
No.
Are there elite entities using quantum computing to predict financial markets?
Oh, yeah. They'll be able to do that very easily.
I bet. And actually, on that note, something interesting that some people might not know is in terms of who has the best, I don't know what you call them, financial company, is actually who is closest to the stock place itself because the amount of time the electricity takes to move that many miles is the difference between you and let's just say a like I don't know let's just say quantum computer in China. The electron will take maybe another second or two or whatever to get over there, and this computer has already calculated and placed a bid, so it is ahead of the game. So anyone who's interested in that, you can look within a about 5 mile radius of
Wow.
where stocks happen. But that's something else. I don't know. That's all I got for today, I guess.
That's it? Oh my God. So little teasing. Well, this is so awesome. And you know what's coming through very strongly when you were talking about quantum computing and using it to determine the markets?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do this one final thing, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
for sure.
Bill Gates just shorted Tesla and um, shorted Tesla and invested in Anheuser-Busch. So let's see how
Oh,
his investments are going to be. So I'm going to probe Bill Gates and I'm going to ask him,
cool.
why did you short Tesla? Tesla, because he just said to me, it's bound to crash. Why do you think it's bound to crash? Because it can't sustain at the level it's on. Do you believe the stock is overvalued? Yes, he does believe the stock is overvalued by a lot. What would you give it as an optimum price? About $100, he says. So he believes that the Tesla stock is overvalued. Is Bill Gates going to be correct in his prediction of shorting the market that much? No, he's not. Okay, next is he also invested over, I think, $1 billion in Anheuser-Busch. Um, because these stock prices dropped considerably. They had a lot of marketing issues.
Wow.
We won't go into, there's no point. Nobody.
That sounds like such a safe bet. That sounds so old school. Does he know something that we don't know about Anheuser-Busch?
You know something that we don't know about Anheuser-Busch? He says, yeah, the only way is up. They're really going to focus on a new marketing campaign. They're going to start really hammering it out and regain the public trust and confidence. They're going to cut the price of a lot of their products, and which they'll be the more affordable option, which I thought they probably were anyway. I mean, have you ever tasted that stuff?
I know. I was gonna say it's like probably one of the worst beers I've had.
Oh
But
God, I don't know how anybody can drink that stuff.
let's actually ask Michael Burry, if you could probe him real quick.
Yeah, because he just shorted the market as well.
Yeah, he's always long or short. Can you ask him if he's short on Tesla?
Are you short on Tesla? Yes, very short.
Let's do like a percentage. Uh, does he have more than 10% of his money short on Tesla?
Do you have more than 10% of your money short on Tesla? No, 1%.
Cool. What a
Bearing
great
in mind
confirmation.
he has billions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's such a great confirmation because Michael Burry is so insanely smart that he wouldn't bet more than, probably 3%. So that was a nice confirmation on your probing ability.
So
But
let's ask him this. It's currently at the price point of $248.50. Do you believe it should drop much lower than that? He says, yeah, it's going to crash. So Michael Burry and Bill Gates believe Tesla stock is going to crash.
yeah, check this out. Just bet 1.6 billion on a stock market crash. Does Michael Burry feel that it's imminent?
Do you feel like there's a stock market crash in there? Yes, he believes we're going into a deep recession.
So the thing is with this guy is he has enough money to ride out when he says soon, y'all just need to know that he might be, meaning like a year. Can you ask him? Does he mean within 6 months?
Do you mean within 6 months? No, within 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you have this much money, you can short for years. Like it's crazy. I wish we were all billionaires. We could all have a different conversation here. But
You know what? While we're talking about this, Mr. Robot, because you like this stuff, can you pull up Yield Max? Yield Max?
sure.
Yield Max are these new types of ETFs that have hit the stock market,
Cool.
and they look at the distribution rates on them. They're really, really high. Dividends, and they're
Hmm.
relatively cheap to own. People are making a fortune out of these. They have not been around very long, less than a year. And I just want to check this.
Yeah.
Are the, I'm going to grab Yield Max as a whole, and I'm going to say, are you able to continue out these high distribution rates for the foreseeable future? Yes, at the moment, but it may not happen all the time. Okay, I'm going to move them out 1 year. Well, let's go 5 years out in the future. Okay, so let's go September, I don't know what today is, 10th, September 10th, 2028, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Have you been able to maintain these high distribution rates for all of your Yield Max products? No. Have you been able to maintain mostly high distribution rates? Overall, the average distribution rate is 25% across the board overall for the next 5 years. So, does that mean you throw the farm at these Yield Max holdings? No. It means that you throw a little bit of money at them, get get to a point where you've matched your initial investment, pull your initial investment out, and play with house money. That's what I'm planning to do.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that means. What's a
Well,
distribution? What's that? What's this referring to?
it's a dividend. They pay a monthly dividend.
So you put $100,000 in, you'll make $49,000.
Yeah,
Weird.
people are killing it.
Hmm.
It's very complicated. I suggest everybody does their own research on, YouTube. There's the fund manager doing interviews. There's lots of people. A lot of people think it's a scam. A lot of people think it's this. A lot of people think it's that. And then there's people showing proof of them making a lot of money off of that. Um, so yeah, Yield Max could be where it's at. I know I'm going to put a few dollars in it. I'm going to recoup what I've initially invested. Maybe like, look, y'all are probably thinking Liz is going to throw hundreds of thousands of dollars. She must know when Liz invests in something, it's like $100. Last of the big investors, honestly.
Can
And
you
I'll
ask?
get,
Do you
mm-hmm.
have to? Can you ask Yilmax? I mean, this is going to be just we could Google it, but for the sake of conversation, can you ask Yield Max if you have to be an accredited investor to utilize them?
No, anybody can buy as long as your your online brokerage account allows that.
Cool.
Yeah. So, when I get my $100 back, I'll just let it ride on out. I'm just, I'm a buy and hold type of person. So I'm happy to buy and hold for 10, 20 years. That doesn't bother me. All righty, Mr.
Cool.
Robot. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. If anybody wants to book a Reiki session with Mr. Robot, how do you wish for them to contact you, please?
Easiest way is just go to myhealing.site and we can take care of you. We do Reiki, and I think I also have another thing on here. It's psychic cord cutting.
Wow.
Um, and I wish I could do it the way you do it. The way I do it, I kind of bend space and time around me, and I can physically feel people, and I remove the cords that I feel on them, and that's also kind of how I do my Reiki. So that's what we
Awesome.
do.
Well, that's great. I know a lot of people have used your services,
Uh-huh.
and I've always gotten very positive feedback from people that have used you. So thank you so
Oh,
much.
good. Yeah, I love doing it. So, and also keep an eye out. I'm gonna be figuring out a better way to talk to people and make some videos and try to be more engaged with people who are interested in my stuff. So just keep an eye out.
Awesome. Well, as soon as you let us know, I'll definitely let everyone know, the audience. So thank you
Oh,
very
cool.
much. We appreciate your time and all of your research, and I'm sure everybody will be thankful down in the comments.
Great. I'm excited to watch this video. I always re-listen to these a couple times, and my mom always asks for the link to them. So it's a fun family event.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right, cool. Thanks, Liz.